Hey everybody. It's been a minute. I think it's been since what? Last week, the 15th, since we've all been together. And I hope everybody has been doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Momo Love Presents Many Voices of the Community. It is an extension of my weekly internet radio show on a Blazing Radio called Community Voices, where like-minded people come together to share common goals and interests. And it's aired every Wednesday on a Blazing Radio. And I think my guest... Oh, okay. Sorry. You think that everything is worked out and you try your best. But anyway, so yeah, we're back and we are talking about ever since coronavirus has happened, the death of George Floyd, the subsequent death of Rayshard Brooks, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. We've had lynchings. We've had defund the police discussions and cancel culture. I mean, it has just been a lot. And it's been like 4 months. It's been a lot in 4 months. So, this series has changed and pivoted. And right now, we're talking about the mental health awareness of Black men. With all the images that are happening, with everything that is going on. And today I want to talk to a writer, producer, director. He's a former detective, homicide detective actually, with Washington, D.C. Police Department. And something that I've been excited to talk about and talk to a Black officer, although he's not in it at the moment. Welcome, Mr. Mitch Kredel.
Whew. Hey, first of all, look, I apologize. I hate being late. I've been dealing with the kids all day about the summer job stuff. We started today, so that's why there's the delay, but I most definitely apologize.
No worries. You are here now, so that's all that matters. I was just telling the audience the reason why I started this series is a spinoff from my weekly radio show that you
Okay.
have been on before,
Mhm.
Community Voices, and it's called Many Voices of the Community.
Okay.
Since coronavirus, and then George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, Rayshard Brooks. I mean, lynchings that we've been talking about. Now we're defunding the police. With you being a writer, producer, director, former homicide detective, it also deals with men's mental health because, we talk a lot and it's kind of alluded to that it's mostly women who deal with mental health issues. But,
Yeah.
I just feel like with all of the imagery that's been going on, I wanted to reach out to my friends, family, my brothers, and just basically the face and say, Mitch Kredel, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm sitting down, so now I can talk.
Got it. You got it together.
Yeah, let me turn this light off. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I'm normally together but this youth summer job thing, this their first year doing the virtual, so we're having a lot of hang-ups, but I'm getting it together. So let's get started.
Well, coronavirus has made us change. I mean, the coronavirus, novel COVID-19, it has made everybody change. It has leveled the playing field for everybody. Nobody is exempt from the changes that has happened. And IG is only going to allow us an hour, so I really want to get right into it. And I know, like you
Sure.
said, you've been busy. I want to try to get as much as we can. Like I said, this is all about the state of the Black man's mind, mental health awareness, because we don't
Mhm.
talk about it a lot. After seeing so many of our brothers killed and just knowing what's going on out there in the world, what's your emotional level been like?
Well, to be honest with you, because for so long I investigated homicides, and death became just part of my makeup, and it doesn't. I'm not gonna sit here and say it doesn't bother me, but I'm just so immune to murders. What's going on today doesn't bother me how it may bother some other people. Of course, I don't want it to occur. I try to do all the things I can to prevent it with some of the programs that I have in dealing with kids. But on the emotional side of things, by me being in homicide for so long, and when I was in homicide, we talking about murder capitals of the world, 500 murders a year. I was just constantly always on the grind. So my emotional state of being is fine. It's the part that bothers me is to see other people go through this, especially families. And that's what hurts me so much, because mothers have to deal with this, fathers in many cases as well. So I feel for other people opposed to feeling for myself. As far as me, I'm just an everyday person, and I can deal with it because I'm just so used to dealing with death.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible thing. It's not a normal thing to be so used to death. But unfortunately, I am.
Yeah. Well, you talk a lot about the kids, and part of men's mental health awareness is, when you're coming of age, 16, 18, 21, you kind of confused. You don't know what's going on, especially right now. It's this struggle with boys. You can't cry when you're a baby, or you can't cry when you're a boy. What is manhood versus masculinity? There is a right, and we talk about women having daddy issues, guys have daddy issues.
Yeah.
Where did you get this understanding of manhood versus masculinity, and how did that help shape, your mental health awareness?
Well, for me, just me being around my moms all the time helped me. I mean, even though I was, tough, played sports, out on the streets and everything, dealt with the things I'm dealing with on as far as a lot of cases I've had in the past. But just being a mama's boy helped me on the emotional side, because there were times where I had to cry, and I didn't feel as though because I was crying, something was wrong with me. I mean, crying is a natural feeling. But what I found out that during the course of interrogating or interviewing a great deal of young men here in Washington, D.C. throughout the years since probably 1982, when I started coaching youth sports, that what you just described, a lot of young men don't want to cry. They put up this wall, and what it does is it really affects them. And I say that because once a lot of the young men were committing murders, now they're in the room with myself or someone else. Now a side of them comes out that wasn't there before. Now they're vulnerable. Now they're not that big tough guy who's on the street carrying a gun, pulling the trigger. Now they're different. We're able to take them, and we're able to really show that they were not matured enough to even do what they did. So the breakdown of them from being tough, it all changes when they're sitting there and their future is in jeopardy. They have nobody to turn to, and we're able to build relationships with them in a short period of time. And there's been several times where they're in there crying. I've cried with young men before, and that whole wall they put up is there because they're out there with their so-called homies and how they grew up on the streets. But I don't care how tough they were. It was a side in them that wanted to come out, and it needed to come out. Maybe if it would have came out early on, they wouldn't have been in the position that they were in. You can't always be tough.
Yeah. And you have all of these confusing thoughts, and
exactly.
What do I do? Where do I go? And in that vein, what made you want to become a police officer?
Well, a couple of reasons. I saw Black police officers who were role models in the Police Boys and Girls Club when I was a kid. Those men were like my father, like my uncles, like my big brothers. So I saw positive Black men in police uniforms on a daily basis because they were the police officers in the Boys and Girls Club who were close to us in the community. We didn't worry about the officers we didn't like. We didn't worry about the officers who used to jack us up, chase us, or cause us problems. We were only worried about the officers who were there for us. So just having the influence from them made me want to be like them. I said, I want to be that kind of a police officer. I want to be the kind of police officer that the community can love and respect. So that's why I joined the police department, to be like them.
Okay. And so, you look up right now, it's so much conversation about police brutality, defunding the police. We know a lot of it is real. And I'm wondering what happened, as far as as it relates to Washington, D.C. police. When did it change? How did it shift? I mean, there's so many questions when it comes to that, especially as Black officers face, right? There's a union within that union. You face disparities when you go to work. There's supposed to be this blue blood, but then you're out on the street and you get disrespected by your Black family. It has to take a toll some kind of way. Can you speak to us about that which goes on?
I'm gonna tell you like this, and like I've always told people from the time I joined the police department. You are who you are when you join. And when people respect who you are, they're not going to, first of all, as a police officer, you sort of, how can I put it? It's just like when you're on the streets, you build a reputation. And I believe with me, because a lot of the guys knew I was very close to the community, things that may have went on in other places, and none of that stuff was going to go on around me. Because everybody knew I had a relationship with this community that I was policing at. And people knew in a heartbeat, I'm going to take handcuffs off people if they didn't deserve to have handcuffs on them. There are situations where guys were arrested for things they didn't do. I made sure they were unarrested, or I made sure the cases were dismissed. So there were things that I always done with the community, because not only was I just trying to be a community police officer, I was doing what was right. I mean, if something is wrong, you got to fix it. So a lot of the things that went on, I respect the police officers who did give me my respect, because they didn't do that stuff around me, and they didn't do the stuff around a lot of people. One thing I try to get people to understand is that, just like on the streets, police not going to do things in front of people they're uncomfortable with. They're going to do it in front of people who they're comfortable with, because if someone who they're uncomfortable with is going to tell on them.
Of course.
So,
and then
it's like on the streets, you're gonna do your dirt around people who you can trust.
So it's a gang within a gang almost.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, because think about it. It's just like when I was young, I saw police officers who were always doing rough things or bad things or just aggressive things to people in the community. Then I saw officers who were real nice, but I never saw them working together. So maybe it's like that now. I mean, maybe it's like, I don't know, because I haven't been a police officer in 5 years, but during the course where I was on the streets, first of all, the time period was different. People on the streets were very aggressive. They fought police all the time. So it was nothing to get into a fight. So it wasn't a lot of things that look like police fights or look like police brutality. A lot of those things were fights. Them dudes back in the day used to fight us. I mean, it was no secret about it. They used to fight. So I'm not saying police brutality didn't exist. It's just it was a different era where the guys fought back. They ain't had time to be telling on the police and call Fox 5. It's like, we're fighting. So the era was different, but some of it did exist because, and I say that because back in the day, a lot of police officers got fired. See, people don't know this. A lot of police officers lost their jobs because back in the day, they had this thing called the Citizens Complaint Review Board. Right. The citizens were determining the disciplinary action of officers, and them, man, they were getting fired left and right. And and that don't occur today because those citizens are not sitting on the review board today. I forgot what year that was cut out by the city council, but they don't exist today. And people don't understand that. When you look back at the rosters from years ago, man, police officers, a lot of police officers lost their jobs.
Okay. So let me ask you, Mitch, do you have fear when you've been out of the police department for 5 years? And maybe not fear is the right word, but were you ever told, did you ever receive the talk, what to do when the police pull up behind you? And do you have any kind of trepidation when they do?
Yeah, I've been pulled over before. And some of the things that I teach the young kids, once I get calls from parents and everything, just how to be safe around police. And the couple of times I've been pulled over, first of all, when the police officer's approaching me, if his tone of voice is not where I want it to be, my hand's gonna always be in the steering wheel where they can see it. You're gonna see my hands, because I carry a weapon too. So my thing is, we both have to make it out of this traffic stop safely. So what I do is, when my hands on the steering wheel, they coming out there with all this loud voice. I'm like, officer, can we start with your tone? Can you please lower your voice and just communicate to me so I can understand, first of all, what you're saying? I can understand you yelling at me. I said, but just so we can have a great conversation in reference to why I'm stopped, I'm going to help you de-escalate the situation. So when I start using words like that, they're like, huh? I mean, because it's important to me that we just be able to talk, because if he's up here yelling, that ain't going to work, because I don't want to start yelling.
But Mitch, I mean, that is great advice. And we have seen brothers and sisters be respectful and keep their hands at 10 and 2 and get out of the car, or ask, just why am I being pulled over? I didn't even hear you say your name and why I'm being pulled over. You can't walk, you can't talk, you can't look at birds. I mean, it's
right.
getting to the point where what really do we do in order to protect ourselves? And especially in the case of Rayshard Brooks. Now, I have to admit, I'm sure we all at one point when he ran, we said, oh. But you could also see where he knew that he may not be going home. What advice can you really give as a former police officer, one of the good guys?
I'm gonna be honest with you about this. There really is no advice, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you're stopped by the police, like you just explained, you can be as safe as you want to be. You don't know what the officer's mindset is. You don't know. You can do all the right things and something can occur. That's just how quickly things can go south. So what I tell people is, I only can tell them things that can help it not go south, because it can go south any moment, because you never know where their mindset is. So my thing is, I just tell people the proper things to do that can help them not cause this officer to get into a mindset where he has to do this, he has to do that. Because, I mean, they can snap just as quick as they ask for your license, and you could be like, for what? What'd I do? Just your tone can make him freak out. I'm not saying that, it's about being a punk. It's not about submitting. It's not about complying. It's just about you not knowing where this guy is mentally. And that's my point. When the police stop me, even today, I don't know where they are mentally. So because I don't know that, I don't want to escalate it. I just want to go on about my business. You're not going to disrespect me, but right. I'm not going to sit there and provoke you, because I'm too old for that provoking stuff. I'm trying to go on about my business.
Yeah. And, with all of this, fighting for our rights, Black Lives Mattering, protesting, demonstrating, even the looting and the burning. I mean, at some point you cannot be upset. You have to definitely understand. And now the thing is, defund the police. Like people kind of know what it is. They don't kind of know what it is, in your opinion. And from what we understand, is not totally disbanding or defunding the police, but putting the monies where they should be. Now, if you could shake up the table, if you could sit at the table, and I know that you've been having many discussions on police reform, what's one of the major things do you think can change, can help those that really need the assistance to do better and do right?
I think what could help, if the police, community, city council, I mean, everybody that has a so-called voice in these decisions, just sit down and just try to figure out what services can be given to other departments. Because even when I used to be a police officer, sometimes I get a call for something, I'd be like, oh my God, I didn't want to go because I knew I was going to be a social worker. But I enjoy going to those non-police the non-police service calls, because it allowed me to meet people in the community. It allowed me to meet somebody during a family argument or a neighbor's dispute, or a lady got locked out her door. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the downfall to it, is that it allowed good police to meet good people, even though they weren't police matters. So, but with today's society, the way it is, you almost have to take those things away from the police now. Now you want government agencies to respond, but now the danger to that is, say you have a government worker responding to a situation, in those situations that police used to respond to, any given second is no different than a traffic stop. That person, depends on where their state of mind is, can snap like that. You don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why you don't really know.
That goes to my question of when you give the funds to the mental health department, right? To the mental health awareness, to the sheriff's office for domestic violence. That money to me would be like, okay, we will bring in more workers that are able to deal with that, and an officer allotted to that, as well as training the community to say, hey, this is a mental health awareness call, or this is a mental issue, or the dispatchers teaching them how to understand how to, diffuse, or what's the word I'm trying to get? How to maneuver the calls.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing about it is, I think that's a great idea. Say if someone of a mental health profession responds, but now see, even if a mental health person responds and you have the police on standby, now we back to where we were.
Well, no, because
now we're back to what people don't want. They don't want police involved in those situations.
We want them to be around in the event that there needs to be a heavier restraint, but not to respond to end up being a death, because they are not.
But see, the thing about it is, listen to what you just said.
Okay.
You can't be around. When something snaps, it snaps within a second.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have time to call for help. That's the point I'm trying to make as a mental health expert. You don't have time to call for help because it goes down. Nobody is going to wait for the police to come. If they're going to do something to you, they're going to do it right there. Police don't have time to come. That's what I'm talking about. That's the scary part of not having the police there. But maybe 8 out of 10 cases, maybe the mental health, maybe 6 out of 10 cases, maybe 7. The mental health person is able to have the situation de-escalate down to a point where they don't need the police. But what about them 1 and 2 time situations where it may cause one of their lives? Now we back to, damn, do we need the police?
I'm saying take those police that are in the schools, because I don't know why they're there. Take those ones and pair them with the mental health experts. So that when they go out there.
I understand what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. To have the police with them is much different than have the police standing by. I feel as though if you're going to have mental health people responding, why not have an officer with them? I mean, yeah, what's wrong with that? I don't think
we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
What's your thought process on the DC, not the DC police, but in general, but chiefs stepping down, police chiefs stepping down in Atlanta, Minnesota, the mayor's responsibility, even in DC, Hank Stawinski stepped down due to some mishap.
Yeah, out in PG, yeah.
Prince George's County, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the reason why any of these people are stepping down, but if I was a police chief and they're talking about defunding, reforming, and all kinds of things, if I'm not sitting at the table for those discussions, why am I here? Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. If I'm your police chief and I can't help you make those decisions on what you're trying to do with my police department, why am I here? I might just go ahead and retire or quit or whatever, because in order for this to happen, everyone needs to be at the table who need to make these decisions. And I don't know what's happening with these police chiefs who are resigning, but I mean, we can only assume certain things. I have no idea. But just for me, if I'm a police chief, if I can't sit at the table, why am I here?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, think about it. Why?
Well, Mitch, I love talking with you, writer, producer, director, former detective, homicide detective with the Washington Police. What precinct was it?
I was in the homicide for 23 years. I did sexual assault for 2 years. So my whole career basically been downtown in investigations.
Do you think that police should retire out after a certain amount of years, or do they already? Like, is there a cap?
I mean, they give you, right now, the cap is 25 years of service and age 50, I believe. Yeah.
and I ask that because I also feel like part of the defunding, after a certain amount of time, like you said at the top of this conversation, you almost get numb to death. I feel like psychological testing should be done on a, every 6 months basis, like 90 days. Like, let's make sure that you are not one of those that I have to worry about at a traffic stop.
Right. No, I know. I totally agree. But I think, thing about it though, a lot of it is just basically different people, chemical, just breakdowns of themselves. First of all, everybody is different. And when you're hiring a police officer, all of us get trained the same way, but everyone is going to handle every situation differently in every different situation. No one is going to do the same thing all the time, and everyone is going to be different. So my thing is, a great deal just have to be who the people are. Because, like, here's a perfect example. I can take maybe 10 people, 10 police officers, and we can go police in any community in America. Well, we're just going to say this area. We can police in any location in DC and treat everyone the same in every location. I don't care if it's Georgetown. I don't care if it's Ward 8. It doesn't matter. We're going to treat everyone the same in every location. And we're not punks. We're not suckers. It's just that we know how to deal with people. We understand people. We're community-oriented people. But still, if we need to be aggressive, we can be aggressive. But we do it just based on who and how we are. We're not afraid. Just because we know you normally carry a gun, okay, you normally carry a gun. All right? I mean, that's not going to make me think every time I see you, you're going to have a gun. So a lot of it is this up here. It's the psychic part of it. And it's just that everybody just police differently. And I'm not going to lie to you. Some police react quicker than others. There have been situations where I've had guns pulled out on me. I've had knives pulled out on me. But in my entire career, I never shot anyone. Man, I'm not saying that if I would have, and in my opinion, if I would have chose to shoot people in those situations that I'm talking about, I would have been justified. It's just that I waited like a split of a second to make a decision opposed to someone who may react right away, but they're not wrong because they were justified in what they were doing. But maybe I took a risk, but it's just that I didn't feel in danger. I'm not going to fire my weapon until I feel as though I'm in danger or someone else is in danger. If I feel as though that danger is not at that point for me, I'm not just going to do it just because I know that I can.
And I'm glad you said that because it feels like that's the narrative. That's the golden line that you play that some police officers place in there.
Everyone is different.
No, I get that. But it seems like most are the same. And it just begs the question of, is this what happens? Is this something that is covertly taught to certain people? Because, we talk about these bad apples. And most people know when you have a bag of apples and some go bad, you got to either throw out the whole bag or totally get rid of those ones that are bad in order to salvage what we have left.
We all are trained the same. We all are different.
What happens just because that's an individual person, I'm guessing?
I'm telling you, we all are different.
Yeah.
Can we
talk about the Black Lives Matter? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
One thing about it, and it doesn't even have anything to do with a person's color, because I can take a group of white guys in the same scenario that I gave with the 10 officers. I can make half black, half white, or even all white that I know. And I can do the same thing with them 10, and you're going to get the same results. So it's just different people. Some officers are different than others.
Yeah. Well, it's also disheartening when you see Black police officers, and the case in Atlanta, those 6 officers, one Hispanic who pulled those children out.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's disheartening when you see that, because it's like, okay, well, is there a difference, or does the blue blood run that deep? It's so hard.
That was just too much drama. If I'm at a traffic stop, get out. Hey, I need y'all to get out the car.
Yeah.
I need you to get out the car. No, I don't want to get out the car. Sir, I need you to get out the car. I mean, I don't even know why they snatched him. I don't know.
We still don't know, and I hope I'm watching
Yeah, I don't
for
know.
when there's going to be any kind of anything that happens with them. I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a beautiful movement that was started as a result of Trayvon Martin's death
Right.
with George Zimmerman. But we also have the conversation, or don't like to have the conversation, or make it a separate conversation about black on black crime.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We got very angry with Hillary Clinton, but Joe Biden, who is the presumed Democrat, running for the highest office in the land. We have our mayors and our local folks that we have to put in office, and we know that Black people who own their own homes in the district, in Maryland suburbs, in Virginia, we watched that shootout.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right. I saw that.
and we don't talk about so much of what we're doing to each other. Now, it's not to say that other nationalities do not kill within their nationalities. The focus is always on us. You have done movies, Boss 2 movie, and you are currently working on 12 Years in Hell, which talks about 12 years of the crack era in DC. I just need you to give us a little bit of the difference, or
Oh, it's a big difference. I'm gonna tell you the difference. The difference is, I ain't gonna say it's simple. The difference is this, in my opinion, with police on citizens violence is different than black on black violence. And I say this because, first of all, everybody with the police, a lot of that stuff is caught on camera. And a lot of police who are committing these acts, that's not their response. They're not supposed to be doing that. So it's easier to go against the police when you're in a community. But first of all, you don't like the police, and you can cost them their jobs, and you have video. You have all this. It's easy to go against the police. Easy. They ain't gonna retaliate, whatever. You get rid of a police officer. But when it comes to black on black crime, to stop that, you need to testify. Okay? You need to come in, you need to get statements. You need to come to court. You need to testify. If you want to
get stitches, Mitch.
You just made the point. It's different. It's different now. But I love the Black Lives Matter movement because this generation, to me, is just unbelievable. I love it. And what I would hope to happen is that with the Black Lives Matter movement, because it is separate from the black on black crime movement, I will hope that the Black Lives Matter movement help bring some change in a lot of the things that's going on with police and community, whereas it helps strengthens that relationship between police and community. Now we have a better relationship between police and community that can now help these grieving parents get some justice for their loved ones. So I want Black Lives Matter movement to help strengthen the relationship. And then maybe that can help the police community relationship. And in order for black on black crimes to be solved, you must have a police and community relationship. If you do not, no one is going to trust the police. And I'm going to be honest with you, just through experience throughout all my years, you have to almost trust this detective or this officer with your livelihood to give them information about a murder case. You have to, because it's just, why would you want to tell the police you saw somebody do something and here it is, you're not even comfortable with it, even though you just saw someone get murdered, but now it's like, are they going to put me in danger? A lot of things come to your mind. Oh, wow, people going to know I'm doing this, I'm doing that. How am I going to be protected? A lot goes through your mind. So it's much harder to solve black on black crimes because the community are not going to participate in those as they will if a police officer commit a violent act against them.
Even though they know what's going on.
Ain't no even though, they know. They know. They flat.
But do you think it's better that black police officers, police black communities and Hispanic police officers, do you think it should be like that, or should they rotate out?
I don't think that, because like I said, I know some white officers who were better police in black communities than the black officers themselves. I mean, we white officers were cool. They were, I mean, they were just, it was just them. I can say probably name about 5 of them. I walk into any block with them and it's no different. It's everybody makeup is different. And what scares me is that you think you know people for years when you're working with them. And a lot of times you don't find out things until later because you're not always with people all the time. So when you're working with them, and what you mentioned earlier about that blue wall to me is just more about protecting each other when you're in a job. You have to be able, and I say that because like when I went through active shooter training, you had to trust the people you were with. It didn't matter what color they were. It didn't matter. You didn't have to like the officer that was with you. But when you go into a situation where someone is firing bullets at you, you have to trust that person. So you can hate the person. You can even know, matter of fact, you can even know the person is a racist. But when you go into a situation where your life is in danger, you just automatically, you're going to protect life. Now, with that, if you have that mindset, you should also have that mindset when you go protect life for citizens. But everybody don't have both mindsets. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
A lot of officers
and it's interesting that you say that.
It's interesting that
yeah. It's interesting that you say that you want to be able to trust your partner, that they're going to have your back. Because, I guess that explains the situation with Chris Dorner, the black guy who reported his white police officer for kicking a guy that had handcuffs on. And he ended up, shooting some police officers and members of their family.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And 800 of them merged on him, killed him. So I guess it runs only so far, because as soon as you turn your back within, that's why I say it's a gang within a gang, no matter your color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. That police culture is tough, and you see that with the police union. It's tough. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough, and I believe it's really, in my opinion, I believe it's tough because of the training that we receive. I mean, the training.
You think you should have longer training?
Say it again.
Longer training, because
no, it ain't longer. I'm talking about the type of training you get is like military. So think about it. When you're in the military, you training with people you would die with. You training with people who you would give your life for. That's how it is in the military. I never been, but just me knowing comrades they tell me when you're in the military, that's just how you are. So when you get military training as a police officer, it alters your mindset. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I went through the training, I came back and told one of the police officers who talked me to join the police department. I said, man, that junk was like being in the army. I ain't want all that. I just wanted to be an officer friendly in the police boys and girls club. But a lot of that training prepares you for certain situations. Because if I didn't have certain training, I may have acted improper, or I may have acted or done something I shouldn't have done. And that training helped me on a restraining type level, opposed to not overdoing it. See, I took the training as a plus, opposed to taking it as a negative and overusing it or abusing it. I took it as a plus to help me in certain situations. And that's why I enjoyed the training, because it allowed me and taught me how to restrain myself for when somebody spit in my face, get in my face, call me a bitch, hitting me in my penis, or just doing something to me that would just make me in a normal situation just go off. That training helped teach me how to bring it down. And that's why I loved about the training, because I know if I was to overreact, I can abuse people and I can hurt somebody with the weapons and everything that I have, and I could be doing some stupid stuff. But I see that some people abused it, and I did not.
Yeah. You talk a lot about the youth. They are our future. There is a lot of them getting ready to vote this year. You talk about how much you talk to them about their responsibility in being leaders of this world, the new leaders of this world. What kind of programs are you doing? And what can we as parents, kind of talk to our kids about as far as how to handle going out in this world?
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of young people all the time. through my nonprofit organization. And I always just talk to youth. I just talk to them in general. And I talk to them about just the small things, being mindful of your surroundings, always be with people you can trust. I say, and if you're, even though you're young, I mean, if your parents don't approve of certain people, I mean, it's not because, as you all say, they hating against you. It's for a reason. And
so are they angry right now? You out there talking to the youth? Are they mad about the crap that's going on right now?
Yeah.
Like
they're upset. They're upset, and they don't trust police. And that's what I put a post up one day, is that we're in a time frame now, whereas you're teaching good students, you're teaching honor roll students how to not be afraid of police. Honor roll students are afraid of police, because that's why I always emphasize that police and community relationship, it just has to be better. I mean, that's why at the school I work at as a behavioral coach, I invited the side-by-side band to come up there. So I wanted the young middle school kids to meet these guys, and I wanted them to see that police they're just human. They just wear a uniform. But we need police on their end to extend themselves out in the community and just be far and above just being a police officer. I mean, I know a lot of police officers who, they don't need cameras following them around. They do this on a regular basis. They're good. They take kids to the stores. They in the communities playing football. They're playing basketball. See, a lot of stuff don't get recorded because they're not shooting nobody. You know what I'm saying? But they're just good. They're good officers. But we don't want to hear about the good officers because that's not story worthy.
Well, it gets overshadowed. And, like I said, voting time is coming up, local elections. What should we look for in our mayors who appoint police chiefs? What should we look for in sheriffs who are running? What should we look for that coincide with what our values are?
I think they should really look towards people who are police community oriented, opposed to people who can pass good exams. I mean, you can be the best test taker in America, I meant to say. But a lot of it's just dealing with people who can bring that comfort to you as a mayor. You can sleep at night because your chief is a community person. I mean, you want someone who is connected to the community. You want someone who have a great relationship with the officers, someone who's respected by the members of the department, as well as someone who's respected by the community. What's the purpose of having someone respected by the members of the police department and not the community? And you really need somebody that can play both sides on an equal level, and someone who can really, really serve the community, because that's who we're supposed to be serving. We're not supposed to be serving the police. We're supposed to be serving the community. And if I'm the chief, you work for me, we're gonna do this the right way. All this, you're gonna do it your way. We're gonna follow the rules. We're gonna not aggressive. There are times we have to be aggressive, but we're gonna always be in the ready go position and not the go position. Ready go allows you to handle anything on a real smooth mindset, and you're only going to react when you really have to, opposed to always reacting all the time. If you always reacting all the time, you got a problem.
You talked a little bit about things not being filmed. Do you agree with body cameras? What's your opinion of it? Do you think they should, if a police officer doesn't turn it on, should they be fired?
Yeah, I think the only time a police officer should turn their body cam off is when they, of course, in the bathroom, and when they eating their private, when they eating their lunch. Other than that, I think it should be on all the time. Because, I mean, I'm not a police officer now, but I would love for it. For me, that's protection. I want it on for me. Because you're not going to say, I did this, I did that, I did this. I want proof that I didn't do it. Because I don't want to be blamed for something that I didn't do. So for me as an officer, I would want the camera. I can't speak for other officers, but I would want it. Hell with that. That's my protection. Yeah.
And protection for the citizen, because what happens is there are police officers who lie on police reports. Should those officers, should they be reprimanded as well if it comes to fruition that they lie on the police reports?
Yeah,
because I mean those reports are taken for like law.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that, and I go back to, I'm gonna give one situation right quick. I remember a detective. I don't know how much experience he had, but there was a crime at Up Against the Wall. 3 black males went in and stole a whole bunch of items, and someone contacted me and said, Mitch, I told Detective such and such to get in contact with you because I knew you knew these kids from a neighborhood. DC jail for a crime I know he didn't commit. So I'm like, whoa. So I get involved. I go to the precinct. I meet the young detective, and he's a white guy. I meet the young detective. I said, how did you close this case? How did you make this case? This is what he tells me. He said, I looked at the video footage from the store. By me knowing everyone in this community, I knew who it was. So he arrested one. He ended up going over DC jail to be waiting for trial or whatever. He had 2 other warrants for 2 other guys. So I said, well, you sure? So I said, let me see the footage. Because I also know people in this community. So he shows me the footage. I look at it. I see 3 guys in there, but I look at the footage and I was like, the tape went off. I said, where's the other part? This can't be the part you're talking about. He said, yeah, that's them. I said, oh, dude, play that again. He played it again. So I said, stop. I said, identify everyone in this videotape for me. So he pointed the kids out the names and said who he thought they were. I said, dude, you are totally wrong. I said, I've been knowing these boys since their birth. The first one you identified, the one you have over the jail right now, his arm is in a sling. He's 6'2". The guy in the video is about 5'6". The other 2, the second person you're identifying, he'd been in prison in another state for the last 2 years, and he's still in prison. So he couldn't have done it. And the third person, that's not him, just by me looking at the videotape. I said, so how are you able to identify these young men? And I'm telling you, just based on me looking at it, it's not them. He said, well, I said, dude, first of all, look, you should have asked someone. I said, if you wasn't sure, you should have left it alone. I said, you have an innocent man, an innocent young man, about 18, 19, whatever it was. You have an innocent man sitting over the jail. He's injured. I said, even in the videotape, his arm not even in the cast. He had a nerve operation in his arm. I said, and he's 6'2". I said, this dude is a midget. So he started feeling bad. And I said, man, how you gonna lock up? I said, and the guy, I said, this other young man, I said, I'm telling you, look into the computer. You will see that he's been incarcerated for 2 years at this other state. I think it was Kansas somewhere. I said, dude, you ain't do your homework. So now so I went and told the U.S. Attorney's Office. So he had to dismiss the case. He had to get the guy. I told the mother to sue. I don't know if she did. I told her to sue the police department and sue him. But the point I'm trying to make is, I went to a supervisor and told the supervisors what he did. I said, your detective fucked up. But they ain't do nothing to him.
And that's why people don't trust the police. I mean, we saw so much, even with the 8th and 8th Street murders. I mean, we're not going to get into all of that, but it's just like, that's why people don't trust the police. And then you do get fearful, because if somebody's breaking in my house, who do I call? Or do I pull out my gun and use it?
I'd rather pull out my gun and use it. Yeah, better chances. No, but seriously though, and I understand he's trying to make his case, but come on, dude, you cannot be identifying people from a video. You don't even know these people. Tell me, he knows the community.
You know, it's so much, and you know, this is one of the reasons why I have these many voices of the community, these coping with corona. You know, like I said, it started out with us just trying to figure out how we're going to deal with coronavirus, because we're all stuck in the house. I mean, March seems like it's been so long. Then when we saw the murder of Brother George Floyd and just all of the things after that, these lynchings, I see that you want people to open up or look back into the case of Kendrick.
Kendrick Johnson. Yeah, I want to. I don't think it's going to occur. That will open up too much. They're not going to open that case. Nah, I want them to, and I believe the family deserve that case be open, but I don't think the Justice Department will do so. I really don't.
All right. So very quickly, what's going on with 12 Years in Hell? When can we see it, and how can we see your other movies?
Like I say, Boss 1 and Boss 2 is on Amazon. Boss 1 is also on Tubu, Avail TV, and it's in a streaming site down in South Africa. I don't know what that site is. I forgot the name of it. Postflix. Nice. Yeah, Postflix. Yeah, and with 12 Years in Hell, I put it together. But just like if you see on social media, a lot of people complaining about the Go documentary that came out. And I'm trying to cover a 12-year period, and it was impossible for me to make it out of a 90-minute piece. So I'm breaking it down to three parts. One part is covering the streets, one part is covering the police, and the last part is going to cover the families. So I broke it down opposed to trying to squeeze everything into a tight pair of pants.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the people would look at that first that 90 minutes I put together, and they'd be like, oh, you ain't, you know what I mean? A lot was left out. So I said, nah, I just take my time and just break it down to 3 parts.
Okay.
And I don't know when it's going to come out because I'm still in the editing process. And editing, it took me forever to edit 90 minutes. Just imagine how long it's going to take me to edit 3 90-minute parts. So I'm still working on it, and I'm just taking my time.
Well, we're going to call out some people who would love to help Mitch Kredel get this editing process done so we can get this movie out. You guys make sure you go to Amazon, Tubi, Postflix. Just Google it, and it'll come up. Writer, producer, director, former detective, homicide detective with the Washington Police, Mitch Kredel. I thank you so much. For those of you that are on Mitch's page, my name is Momo Love, and I host a weekly internet radio show called Community Voices with Momo Love alongside DJ Firebone. Every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the Blazing Radio. Please check us out. And this was just an extension, to talk about Black men's mental health, state of mind, where we are after all of these pandemics and murders and things that's going on. Mitch, I appreciate you so much for just giving us a small inkling as to what police officers go through, and definitely Black police officers go through. Make sure you guys follow him. And where can they follow you, Mitch?
I mean, on Instagram, I'm Mitch Kredel, Credle. Facebook's the same. Twitter, I don't even use Twitter. I don't even know what that is. Facebook, Instagram, Mitch Kredel. That's it. I'm old school. I don't know about all that stuff. Yeah.
That'd be the reason.
Yeah, simple.
Wonderful. I thank you so much. Any final words?
No, I mean, my thing is for everyone, just always be mindful of your surroundings. And when it comes to interactions with police, is always, I'm not gonna say you're always gonna be with somebody, but nowadays you just have to just always try to be with somebody whenever you go places, whenever you do things. And because I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just times are crazy right now. And I don't know where a lot of officers' mindsets are. I don't know if they're upset. I don't know if they're pissed off because of all this going on. A lot of people are being blamed, but there are some good officers out here. The thing about it is you just don't know when you're going to run into one. That's the only thing about it.
With that being said, we thank you for the jewels that you did drop. And happy belated Father's Day. Thank you. Father's Day every day. It's for you, to you. And thank you. I appreciate you guys. Speed, stay safe, and don't forget, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and wear that mask every time you are around people. All right, take care.